everybody, welcome to our fifth video on this series on Are You Ready to Teach Online? Today I would like to talk with you about some aspects that are very important. And this has to do with teaching aids and using teaching aids in an online setting. And I was reminded of a story that I once heard, and it goes like this. Once upon a time, a school supervisor was visiting a school in his district, and he went into a classroom and he saw a young teacher having trouble teaching a history lesson about the travels from the Europe to the New World. And this young teacher, inexperienced teacher, was having trouble transmitting the lesson to the students. And the students were running all around the classroom and were shouting and yelling and talking with each other. So the supervisor went into the room, called the students to attention, and then he took a wine cork that was lying in the teacher's desk. And he started telling a story about how cork was first produced in Portugal, in Europe, and that Portuguese were great sailors and explorers, and that the Spanish were also explorers, and that they built ships with the wood that was taken from forests in Portugal, and he started telling this story about how they crossed the ocean and came and discovered America and to new land and everything that they teach us in history classes sometimes. And the kids were fascinated. And the young teacher was, wow, you really know how to do it. So the supervisor, very satisfied with himself, left the room, said goodbye to the kids, goodbye to the teacher. And 1 year later, he came back to the same school, to the same classroom, and saw the same teacher having problems again with the students. And he called him apart and told him, well, what's going on? Didn't you learn about how to teach? Oh, yes, I learned a lot about you, said the young teacher. What I'm wondering is, where did you left the cork? And that's the moral of the story. The moral of the story is that it's not much about the visual aids that you use, but how you use them and how you have to learn to use them. In an online setting, you can use objects, but basically what you will be using are slides, digital visual aids. So we'll talk about them here. The first thing that you must decide is which application you have to use. There's a lot of choices. PowerPoint may be the standard for most of us, but there's also Google Slides, Keynote for Macintosh users, Prezi, even Canva. All of them can be used to make great visual aids. So it depends on your preference. Whichever you use, you can find templates, can find predefined templates that you can use for your visual aids. So it depends on your preference and the kind of computer or device that you have, which application you will be using. One of the questions that we always ask, does size matter? And yes, it does matter. Older systems used to handle a 4:3 proportion. That's the one on the left on your screen. However, most modern computers and devices handle a 16:9 proportion. That is the one that we're using right here. So you should be careful when you design your visual aids, your slides, to check and to take into consideration what size are you going to project in. So, or what size is your screen using, or what proportion it's using. Mostly, when you're dealing with an online setting, you won't have any problems. I say mostly because some applications will have problems identifying, and then you don't want your slides to be uh, awkward. You don't want your slides to be out of place in your presentation. So take care and be careful with that, please. The next thing that you should take into consideration is the size of your pictures. Many presenters nowadays use very big pictures. So that's the standard right now. Try to use big pictures. Don't try to cram many small pictures or images in one slide. Try to use one big picture and that's it. Don't need to have many small pictures in your slide. Next consideration is what are the templates that you will be using. Define a template, select a template, and use it throughout your presentation. Don't change templates, don't change styles. It's very important for you to take that into consideration and use one template and use it throughout your presentation, your course, or your class. Another important thing that you must consider is choose a color palette. Choose a color scheme that goes with your logo, your organization colors. Everything should be done harmonically so that everything checks and is according to one of the colors that you can use. There's lots of applications online or on your phone that you can use to design and define your color scheme for your slides. And last but not least, take care of the font that you use for your presentation. A font should be at least 30 points size so that everybody can see your text, so that everybody can see what's written in your texts. So those are some aspects that you should take into consideration whenever you are designing your visual aids to teach your online class or course. I hope that this has helped you and that this information is useful for you. Remember, if you have any questions, doubts, or comments, be sure to contact us in any of our contact information. Send us a text through the telephone. Leave us a comment. Leave a comment on our Facebook page, on our Instagram page, and Twitter, our Facebook channel, or even visit our website, and we will be glad to help you. Thank you. Take care.